welcome back, everybody, to No Pressure, No Diamonds podcast. Man, what's going on, Thomas? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. I apologize for running late, dude. I had an appointment with some other with gentlemen.
We busy, man. That's the thing. I love working around and being around busy people because it helps you grow and helps you become more busy. Because if you're around a bunch of busy people and you're not busy, it don't look good for you. But man, today I'm so excited about who we have on the panel. So before I even introduce his name, let's go over a couple of stats about this gentleman. 30 years plus in the security industry, and his experience goes way beyond that. President and owner of Kadima Security Services, not just your standard security. Now, so we're not just talking about that. We're talking about the elite, high profile. We're talking about former presidents, court security, personal protection for athletes and high level stuff here we're talking about. Also the inspector for the California Athletic Commission.
Oh, wow.
Great guy. And has been awarded, as most admired CEO by the Los Angeles Business Journal. So this gentleman is a real serious, great guy, just a great human being also. But man, welcome to have this gentleman on the podcast, Mr. Louis Perry. How's it going, sir?
Very good. Thank you. And thank you for having me, both of you. Thank you.
No, it's our pleasure.
We appreciate it,
I'm
man.
excited about it.
we could add a whole podcast 10 minutes before this, man. We talk about some life. So today we're going to talk a little bit about life, business, sprinkle in some concepts, man, for especially people that want to get into business and just how serious it is. Yeah. Because we were talking to, everything, it's not all flowers and rainbows, and everybody likes to see the results of everything. Everybody likes to see all the results in the Instagram type of look of everything, but it's work on the front end of that. 100%. There's real work on the front end of that. So we're gonna just kind of dive in here, and I'll start off just with the question here. So talk about your life. So how'd you end up in California? Because I sense a little bit of an accent there. So how'd you end up in California? Tell us your story.
Well, as a kid from Brooklyn, I grew up with a lot of very, very nice people, a lot of Italian people in Brooklyn, New York. That's where I was from originally. And I decided that I needed to change and see what was out there in my life. It was going to just a regular routine of things. And I needed to change my life. I needed to find myself and create my identity. So I decided to move to California, at which I started, my goal was to get into the entertainment industry, and I started doing a couple of entertainment things in the extra realm of things. And then I fell into the security business, and I realized that the security business was being lucrative for me. So at that point, I decided to continue to pursue that. And it became a great thing. I landed in the right place, working with people like Rick Caruso and doing all the properties on the West Side, doing all the properties in Beverly Hills. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And I'll get to when we get to the final point, if you ask that question, I'll go into the details of, some of the high profile clients that I deal with, because I deal with a hell of a lot who are wonderful people. But yes, so that's it.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And so I was having a conversation because I was talking to a son too. And he talked about the story. You coming out here like bare minimum. I mean, starting from nothing.
$2.
Oh, dang.
$2.
Wait, like $2? You left New York with $2, or when you got here, you had $2 left?
I left New York. I arrived in California. I had like $2 in my pocket.
Wow!
And it put me in a position that not $200, $200. My apologies. $200. So I had to basically pursue what was going to make me, work hard and do well. And I just continually worked hard to build. But, I turned that $2 into a very lucrative life that I currently have now. But, there was a lot of work that went into it, a lot of work. I mean, I never was unemployed. I'd never been on welfare. I never took a government money. I never, ever, ever had any sort of assistance through the government. My mother used to say, if you ever need it, it's there. If you never need it, don't take it. And that's what I live by.
That's incredible. So you had said you came out to be in the entertainment, like goal was actor or okay.
Yeah, I wanted to do acting. I did a Penitentiary. My biggest break probably was the Richard Simmons show. I did the whole entire Richard Simmons show with Richard Simmons. That landed me some opportunities. Then I did, of course, I was different looking back then. But
I was going to ask, were you in a leotard behind the scenes doing jumping jacks?
No, it was quite different. But you can see it online. If you go online and look at Louis Perry, Richard Simmons, you'll be able to find it.
Okay.
But I did Playgirl Centerfold. I became a finalist in that, but never did the magazine. So I was a finalist. I think I came in third through the state of California, and that was kind of interesting. Again, I was in great shape. I was a very decent looking guy when I was young, and
well, we've got some things in common, obviously.
Yeah,
you and I, Louis. I'm also a very good looking guy.
You are
on the inside. On the inside.
No, on the outside too. On the outside too. I thought you looked familiar because maybe you came in first place.
I was second place in Chunkendale magazine.
Oh, okay. Okay.
A little chunky guy.
Okay, me too. I've always been chunky.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
that's awesome, man. It's fascinating. Obviously, there's been an incredible journey in that process.
Journey. I've had a great journey, brother. I got to be honest with you. My life is just full circle of greatness. I mean, the one thing I take to my legacy and I pass to my kids and anybody I associate with is never give up and never take no as an end result. Nobody knows your future except for one person.
The man upstairs.
The man upstairs and you.
Sure.
If you quit, you're not going to get there. But if you keep knocking on that door, you can't win the lottery unless you play the lottery. Even if you buy a lottery ticket for $1, you're never going to win unless you buy that dollar ticket.
Right.
So I look at that in life and say, if I want something, I have to keep knocking on the door, keep knocking on the door, keep knocking on the door, keep knocking on the door until eventually that door will open. And that's sometimes life. Everything you do, anything and everything you do. Joe's not going to live forever. Joe moves on. Mary comes in place. Mary gives you the opportunity. Mary would have never given you the opportunity if you never kept pursuing after Joe was gone. So it's like that with everything you do.
Right.
Damn it. And knocking on the door, we were talking just about the hunger of being we were talking about the hunger, right? And, some people just don't go out there and ask, right? So we're having a little conversation, we're just talking about that, about being just hungry, man, having that hunger and just not, it's also not taking no for an answer, but also being willing to open your mouth, being willing to talk to people.
Here's the thing about that. A lot of people are afraid to engage with other people. They're afraid to engage. You could be the smartest guy in the world. You could have all the answers in the world. You could be the most gifted, talented, knowledgeable person in the world. But if you keep it to yourself, nobody knows. So, there are millions and millions of people walking the street that are billionaires and that are very successful that don't have nothing over the three of us at this table.
Sure.
They got a break. They followed up on it, and they were given the opportunity, and they went from there. So my thing is, you got to be the type of person. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, I don't need to be. I'm going to be successful, but I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm not going to deal with anybody. Listen, your chances of becoming successful like that are minimal versus a guy that's out there every day knocking on the door. Hey, can I come in? Some of the biggest production people, biggest directors started off in the mailroom because they were so hungry to get where they wanted to go that they started at the very lowest position. My mother used to say, if you're going to mop the floor, that's okay, but be the best mopper. If you're going to clean windows, that's okay, but be the best window cleaner. That's what I instill in my kids. I tell my kids, look, I'm giving you the edge. Make something of that edge. Take advantage of this opportunity where we live, what you have, the car that you drive, everything. Take advantage of it. This is my pass on to you. Take it to the next level. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
My mother came here from the Dominican Republic. She came here with nothing. If she was alive to look now, I think she would be very proud to see that her investment paid off. That's what you have to do. You want your kids to be better than you. I don't want my kids to be less than me. I don't want my kids to be equal than me. I want my kids to be better. I want them to take it to another level. I want to look at my kid one day. I always say, I want to look at my kid one day, go to a restaurant, pull out my credit card to pay, and have my son say, Dad, don't worry about it. This one's on me. That would mean a lot to me. That's really what it's about. That shows you that they have accomplished. One of the things my kids do, I want to share the story with you. We were walking down Pasadena. As a grown up, still today, when I see people in need, I give them, like, here's $1, hell, get yourself a coffee or don't buy liquor, whatever. One day I was walking with my kids in Pasadena, and my son Justin turned and said, Dad, hold on one second. And I saw him walk up to a homeless guy and give him the $1. And that day I realized that even though I didn't think he was looking and listening and watching, he was watching. He took his own $1 and gave it to that homeless guy. That was a remarkable moment for me, because it told me that, he's got that caring nature in him to help people, to do for people. And that's what it's about. It's not about black, white, Spanish, poor, fat, skinny, Jewish, Muslim, Persian. At the end of the day, we're all human beings.
Sure. Cut us open.
I mean, we're all human beings. We're not like, a Republican against Democrat. All this is crazy. What we're living in, the life that we're living in right now.
Yeah,
it's insane.
The divide is sad.
The divide is terrible. I mean, why be divided? Look, if you like Biden or if you like Trump, that's fine. But don't be hating on somebody that's opposite of you. Respect. Give them the opportunity. If he wins, he wins. He didn't cheat. He didn't steal. Don't try to, blow up the I mean, we got this country's really in a stage of disaster. You don't even got to bomb the Twin Towers. Just let it stay like it's going right now. That's just self-destruction itself.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it seems like it's in that mode, and it's interesting that you bring that point up, because I kind of feel the same way. Part of it, and I'm curious as to what you think, Louis, is, do you believe that people are just at a point right now, like especially younger generation, and I'm not old, I wouldn't say, but I'm kind of in the middle, right, as a 41-year-old. But would you say like younger generation has just gotten very soft and there's this want to be right for some reason versus accepting perspective? Because I think that's the reason why there's a divide, is we're not willing to listen to somebody else's perspective, where for me, it's not black or white. It never has been in my life. There's always a gray, and that gray is an opportunity to learn or grow, or, you know what I mean? Just be accepting of different perspectives.
I think the big problem is a person sitting in Alabama that has no way to go, doesn't know where to go. And here comes the KKK saying, hey, join us. Now you could be in a club. They jump in and join them. I think what's happening in our country right now is people are looking for something to connect with, be a part of it. They don't care if it's right or wrong. They just want to be a part of something. And because of that, you have the Democrats hating the Republicans hating the Democrats, the blacks hating the whites hating the blacks, the Latino hating the whites. It's full circle of stupidity, full circle of ignorance, full circle of just ridiculousness. I mean, I could dive into some of the shootings that are out there right now. If I'm a guy that's a police officer, and because I see a person that is black or is white, and automatically in my head I say, this guy is against me, this guy is bad, this guy does not belong here, this guy does not own this house, car, then automatically I'm drawing a conclusion before it even comes together.
Sure.
That's why you have judges getting kicked out of their house and being thrown on the floor and being handcuffed that own the house. You have cops that are making judgments because, look, a girl's going to kill another girl. Do I shoot her and kill her? Do I let her kill the other girl? So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. The problem is that people are not respecting humanity for what it is right now. That's one thing I teach my kids. Love every race. You come to my house, everybody in my house is from a different culture. Black, white, Latino, Persian, Jewish, Muslims, everywhere. But the one thing that exists in my house is if you walk in this door, whatever your issues are, they do not exist in my house. Because we all get along in my house. We all respect in my house. When my kids were young and they would make a comment like, oh, the eyes like a Chinese person. Look, don't do that. I stopped them immediately. Don't do that. You don't want nobody to do that to you. Don't do it to nobody else. That never happened again. We are at a place in this country where we are so divided, and there's so much hate and so much anger. It's a shame, brother. It's a shame. It saddens me so much because we were going the right path. We were getting better. Everything was getting better. The shootings educated people to know that this does exist. Great. The filming of it, that's the best thing that happened. But there's two sides to, like as my brother here says, the coin. People are not respecting other people. I was at, matter of fact, I was at that meeting that we had with the Alex. And in the restaurant, I was talking to these two ladies at the table. That was the question that they asked me. They said, by the way, what are you? Are you a Democrat or a Republican? I said, what does it matter? And she went into the detail. Oh, it does matter because the Democrats are wrong. They're destroying our country. They're this, they're that. Listen, they got into this whole thing, and I'm like, look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And then she started saying, you know any good guys I'm dating, but he has to be a Republican. I'm like, what are you talking about? What if this guy treats you right? He's a good husband. He provides for your kids. No, I can't date him because he has to be a Republican. So my theory is people in this country are so bored, so not letting their heads do the thinking. They're more thinking that I have to belong to something. Right or wrong, I have to belong to something. Not looking at the content of that something, they're making that decision, and that's why we're dealing with what we're dealing with currently.
Yeah, I think the other reason, and I love that you brought it up, man, is that it starts in the house, under the roof. And, as a father, I think my number one priority and the number one job that I take the most serious is being an example like you were, obviously, for your kids. And we've gotten away from that. You also said, treat people right. Don't do that. If you don't want it to be done to you, then don't do it, right? When you gave the example of the eyes thing. I think we've just gotten away from those golden rules, and it seems so simple, but it almost seems like people want to overcomplicate things. It's not a complicated thing to be a human being and treat others properly.
Let me give you a good example. Like I said, it goes full size. When you see these Asian people that are getting beat up, for the most part, do you know what race is primarily beating up the Asian people?
Do I know what race?
Do you know? Yeah.
I don't know. Is this a trick question or?
No, it's not a trick question. It's a direct question with honesty in it.
I don't know.
I can tell you what I've seen.
What have
as
you
an
seen?
Example, I've seen black African American.
Yes, that's exactly the correct answer. And let me tell you what it is. How can I say that someone is bad doing something to not half African American, half Latin? Okay, raised in a Jewish and Italian neighborhood, so I have the full circle. I'm the number one security guy for all the Jewish community. I'll be on a telethon every year for Chabad. I'll be on it September 5th. I'm 6 o'clock, first guy on there, first guest. Then comes John Voight and everybody else. Here's what I'm going to tell you. How can I tell somebody that the world is bad and this is bad and I'm being attacked by whites and this, that, and the other, but then I turn around and go attack Asians? That's not right either. It's not. And, I have a problem with all of it, from A to Z, white to black to white, Asian to this to that. Walking up to a person in the street, just walking by, minding his own business, cold cocking him right in the face and knocking him out. And he falls and hits his head on the sidewalk. And then I'm going to say, well, they're the problem. No, they're not the problem. You're the problem. That person that did that act is the problem.
Sure.
And I tell my kids this. I say, listen, I will do everything for you. I'm very well connected in every which way in this country and beyond. Very connected. I cannot help you if you've made a decision to do something wrong. If you go in a car and you go to a party and you're drinking and you know you're wasted and you can't drive and you get behind that wheel and you crash and kill somebody, you're going to pay for that crime. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing. You're a good kid. That's irrelevant. That's all irrelevant. You committed a crime that you were not supposed to do. You're going to have to do the time and pay for it. That's the most important thing that people need to be aware of.
Taking responsibility.
I think I know your answer, but you said there's nothing I can do because the law was broken. But if you could, would you? I'm just curious.
To be honest with you,
Yes.
no.
Good. My mom told me the same thing. I grew up in a household very similar to the one that you've created for your kids. And my mom said, "Look, I'll always love you. You're my son. But if you kill somebody, I'm turning your butt in.
Yeah.
Like you're going to pay for that.
Absolutely.
You can't do crimes and expect for me to try to fight and protect you. Like I'm going to give you an example of what's right, what's wrong. You know those two things, and if you do wrong, you're going to pay for it. I will turn you in." And I'm like, "Dang,
Is your mother still alive?
She is, yeah.
Tell her I said congratulations and thank you for bringing a good human being into society, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
People need to be accountable. People need to be accountable for their kids' actions, and people need to direct your kids' actions. I tell my son, I said, "Look, you got to work hard. You got to do this. You got to do that." If I tell my son this train is coming and he wants to walk in front of the train, shit, I've done my job. It's up to him. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Well, it's so funny, man, because again, I feel like it's just been softened as, conditioning of growing children, if that makes sense at all. I mean, I see it like my kids are playing sports. And I'm starting to see like parents being upset with the coach because their kid didn't get to play or something like that. It's like, well, no, your kid needs to learn how to play harder, right? And
I'm going to share something with you without mentioning names or anything. In life, if I have a business, I take the best players and put them to the forefront to make the business grow.
Sure.
Right? If you're a player and you're a baseball player on a team or a basketball player, you don't put the worst players to start. You put the best players to start, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Same applies in every denomination of life. Unless it's one of these leagues that are not caring about, the competition. When they're very young, it's a different story.
Sure.
Just throw them in, 5 minutes each kid, and they're out. I get that. But the world is competitive. And as soon as you teach a kid about competition, the quicker he's going to be. If he goes to listen, if a guy's, this true story, a person's in 7-Eleven, walk up to the booth and say, "I'd like to get 3 tickets." He's getting cigarettes for that person. The lady says, "Okay, go ahead and go. He buys the 3 tickets that she was supposed to get. He leaves the store.
He wins.
$50 million, and he's looking for that lady to pay her something because she let him go ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Never found her, walked away with $50 million. Those 3 tickets were for her. That's life, brother. That's life. You let him get ahead of you, nothing wrong with it, but you gave up your tickets. Same thing in life.
Yeah.
Shoot, question about that. Kind of along, probably not letting people go ahead, but let's talk a little about the kind of segue, working through a slump or working through a rut, but still having to keep things going. Like, I don't know if you ever like things like dips or downturns in business, and you had to keep working through it, and lights got to stay on, business got to keep going, employees got to keep. This business isn't small by any measure. I mean, I think it was said about 300 employees, 350.
350 employees I have in my company. Yes.
So there's slumps and ruts, right? There's times when business is slow sometimes. So how do you work through and keep the train moving when sometimes there's some slumps going on?
That's a good question. And I'll tell you that you snooze, you lose, number one. I'm an old school guy, okay? So here's what I have to tell you. There was once a guy that applied for a job, and he came in with a bad attitude, and he was, "Yeah, you guys never have opportunity, you never have this, that, and the other. Hell with this place, I'm leaving." He walked out the door, and the phone rang, and there was somebody looking to give those hours to that guy. And he lost the job. He lost the opportunity because he walked out and didn't realize that in life, the person who continues to push and push and push and push and push, most likely he's going to be the winner at the end of the day. You can't quit in life. You can't quit. I got a kid that lives in Italy that has an apartment. His name is Adam, who you know. I have another son that is working to be a music producer. I have a daughter that's a hairstylist, a wife that's a stay-home mom, and I have 350 employees that depend on me every day to be productive. I can't go in and say, oh, great, I got one account, I'm done for the year. No, I do it by the day. This day today, I want to be better than yesterday. Friday, I want to be better than Thursday. Saturday, I want to be better, and I go like that every single day. My mother used to say, it doesn't matter if you make $15 an hour, but try to make $15.25 the next year. Keep going up. Small, slow, but keep going up. Don't go from 15 to 14. Go from 15 to 20, 15, 25. So how do I do it? How do I push? I don't take no for an answer. I keep going. I keep pushing. I keep knocking on that door. Because the person that's saying no to me may not be there forever. Let me give you a perfect example of that. The LA Business Journal. No, San Fernando Business Journal. Charles Crumpley. Great guy, great friend, wonderful person. That's the head guy for the San Fernando Business Journal. He once, before him, there was another guy. I would write him. Hey, I'd love to be a part of you. Can you feature me in one of your articles? Blah, 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 blah. Never respond. Or no, you don't fit our criteria. Whatever the case is. For years. Charles Crumpley came in. I wrote him. He said, wow, that sounds interesting. Let me send a writer to meet you. That's how it all started. I never quit. I never gave up. Costco stores. I want to write crime prevention tips for you guys. Well, we don't need that, blah, blah, blah. Next writer came in. We don't need that. Next writer came in. Next new publisher came in. Let me write crime prevention tips for you for the holiday, crime prevention tips. Their following is millions and millions of people translated from English to United States, all over the world. And I did an article for the Costco stores all over the world. Never quit. Never let somebody say no. The only person that knows what the opportunity presents to you on the other side of that door is the man upstairs and you by being persistent in pursuing your dreams and goals. If you ever quit, you'll never know what's on the other side of that door. I don't know what's on the other side of that door unless I open that door. If I really want to know what's on the other side of that door, I need to open that door or find a key for that door. But if I quit and say nothing's on the other side of that door,
or maybe it's not meant for me to find out, right? Like, because that's a thought process that some people have, but it's detrimental, I think. Right?
It depends on the circumstance. Like if somebody was to say, give an example of that. If I'm down at the train station and I look at that door and I say, wow, just an example. Mm-hmm. Maybe let me see what's on the other side of that door. I'm curious where that door leads. And I go down there, and while I get down there, the train comes and hits me. And it wasn't meant for me to go down there in the first place, right?
Sure.
But I have to make that decision to say, you know what? Whatever's on the other side of that door, I don't need to know. Because I'm not taking a chance of getting hit. That's the difference. You feel me? So it's a matter of evaluating how important is it for me to know what's on the other side. Example.
Well, if you see it as an opportunity, though, is what I'm saying. Like in that example of that you gave those two examples, those were potential opportunities to open up additional doors.
Yes.
What I'm saying is you kept you had the willingness. You said persistence, like follow up equals persistence, right?
Yes.
But for some people, especially up and coming entrepreneurs, which this podcast is kind of designed to help, hopefully them. They may know that there's a ton of opportunity, but after one or two tries, they knock, and nobody opens or the door doesn't open. They kind of throw up their arms and eventually quit. So that's kind of what I was talking about.
No quit. Quit is not a word that you put in your vocabulary. And if that door doesn't open on a Tuesday, check it on a Friday. If it don't open on a Friday, check it on a Wednesday. Every once in a while, go back and check that door. Eventually, I've done things where I've pursued a client, and the client says, "Nah, Louis, we're good." Call him back a month later. "Nah, Louis, we're good." Call him back a month later. "Nah, we're good." And then 5 months later, I call him one day and say, "Louis, your timing couldn't be better." I got $1 million deal like that with San Pedro, Cabrillo Way Marina. I call the guy. We're not quite ready. I'm driving down Ventura. I call him. He said, "Louis, why don't you come in? Let's go to lunch. I think we're ready to talk." $1 million later, I got the deal. So, I've learned from experience that you don't quit. Be respectful, be honorable. Every time you talk to somebody, hey, have a great day. It was nice talking to you. Mind if I check with you in a year or so? Sure, no problem. Follow up in that year. People learn to respect and appreciate you when they know you're a follow-up type of guy. The other thing I do for the entrepreneurs that are listening is, when you go to an interview, always know who you're going to interview before you go and who you're going to be meeting. That little thing by saying, Mr. Jacobs, nice meeting you, extend your hand and making that eye contact. And not just that, every time I go to a meeting or an interview, I send a little card saying, thank you for your time. It was a pleasure. I hope I get the opportunity to serve your security needs or whatever the case may be.
Sure.
As an inspector for the state, I deal with people differently than I'm sure any other inspector. I want those people to know who Louis Perry is and know that this guy is great. This is the guy I want to do my fights. Whether it be Mayweather or Pacquiao or whoever it is, I want them to say, this guy is the guy I want for my corner. He's got the energy. That energy translates into positivity. People like to be around positive people. I'm a hungry person. I'm 60 years old, and I've been like this for years, and I think I'm going to die trying to sell security to the cemetery they buried me in. That's just the way it is.
I love it, man. That hunger, that passion. It's infectious. It is. It's attractive. You can attract a lot of people to that, and it shows. I would have never guessed that you were 60, and I don't say that just to be, complimentary.
That's a fact, too.
Yeah, no, I would have never
that
guessed
energy.
That. Yeah.
Like I said, infectious. And I want to talk about that. So how'd you end up getting into doing being an inspector for this? How'd you end up getting into that?
That's a great question, and I'm going to tell you, I can't tell you everything in full, but I'm going to tell you a lot of it. Okay. I read a lot of magazines, and I look at everything. If I'm in my office, I have a TV, and I have the newspapers that I look at every day: the LA Business Journal, San Fernando Business Journal, and the LA Times. That tells me everything that's going on around the world and what's current. So if I see, for example, Oprah Winfrey's moving from Chicago to Los Angeles with Harpo Development. Now I got to send a package to Oprah saying, Dear Oprah, this is Louis Perry. I hope everything's well for you. I'm in the security business. I'd love to provide security for you in Los Angeles. If you ever have any needs, I would love to be your guy. So your question that you asked to me was give me again the question. Just throw it to me again. I kind of want.
How did you end up in the?
So doing the California inspection.
So I read an article that they were hiring a new director from a different state to come to California. I wrote to him, and his exact words were, "I really don't know anybody in Los Angeles. You ever think about being an inspector?" And I said, I would love to. He said, well, there's a big fight happening this weekend in California. I'm flying up to it. It's going to be at the Staples Center. It's Deontay Wilder versus Chris Arreola. I flew there, and before I know it, I was in the corner with Chris Arreola and Deontay Wilder, and I just loved it. I loved walking out to millions of people yelling, because in my head, they were yelling for me.
Right.
They were yelling for the fighter. I choose my friend. I became a crazy guy on this shit. So when I'm walking out there, I'm thinking like, Mike Tyson's out there, everybody's screaming, everybody's yelling. In my head, they're like, man, these people really love me, man. This is motivating me more. So to make a long story short, I ain't going to go through the rest of it, but I became an inspector. Been an inspector for the last 7 years. I do a lot of TV fights. I did the last Tyson fight. I did the last fights last week. And then my next fight is, what's his name? Oscar De La Hoya is coming back for a fight at Staples Center. I'm doing that. And a lot of other fights. But to answer your question, I'm going to tell you what it is. The key, this is the most important thing I'm going to tell you. The key, in my eyes, to becoming successful is figure out what the needs are of the people before they need it in every way. So meaning that if an opportunity presents itself where a totally guy is going to be coming into California, he knows nobody, I'd love to be his best friend. That sometimes can lead into opportunities. And that's the way I pursue life and business. If I hear like Japan is opening a new Toyota China is opening a new Toyota dealership in Long Beach. They're going to be taking over all of Long Beach with 3 million cars. They need security for it. The first day that happens, my letter's already there. Before I send my letter to China before they even arrive in the United States. That's it. In my car, I keep about 75 books to give out. I'll give you one before we leave. And I keep my business cards that I'm ready to throw out to everybody, at least 50 in my pocket, and so forth and so on. I'm always ready to pursue an opportunity. I never miss an opportunity. If somebody walked in this conference room by accident, and I recognized them and I saw them, and I saw there was something there, I would drop a card on them in a heartbeat, run out, get a package, give it to them, and they would jump on the plane. If they throw it in the trash, that's fine too. But if chances they keep it and read it, there we go.
That right there,
just creating opportunity.
That's just being ready, man. Like that, just staying ready. We talked about that. He was like, man, I keep it in the car. I got him in the truck. Man, there could be people on the corner.
You ain't got to get ready.
That's a fact. Hey, come on. That's a fact. You're just talking about, man, there's 5 people on the court. Man, I'm going to talk to them. If they look like they need something, well, guess what? I'm going to talk to them.
So let me tell you this. Let's say I'm driving out of here right now, and I see a building manager and a building owner walking around taking notes on the property. We need to make the lights here. We need to do this. I'll stop my car. I'll jump, park over, give him a business card, give him a package, which I'm going to give you before I leave, and say, hey, if I can ever help in security, let me know. They may not call me, but as I told him, I got 13,000 weekly followers who follow me every single week. That's nothing compared to a guy like, I'm not going to mention his name, but he's making millions. And another family, I won't mention their name, they're making billions with no talent. It's just the way it is. It's life's opportunity. You get that door, you walk through it, and, like there's going to be haters, but hey, that's on them. Don't hate me because I'm doing my thing.
Right.
But if you want to hate, that's fine too. Because the guy once told me, you will tell how far you are going in life. You will tell how successful you are
how many haters
by how many haters you have. You love that? That's the reality.
I love it.
I got a lot of people knock you down. Yeah, people try to knock me down every day. I don't care. I don't care. People are jealous. People are envious. Look, man, I've learned to accept that that's the way it is, and that's what I got to accept. If there's a hater, let him be a hater. I'm just going to keep on going, bro. I'm going to look at you. I may smile. I may not even acknowledge that I see you being a hater, and I'll just keep going, bro. Because at the end of the day, he's not paying my rent. He's not paying for my kid's apartment in Italy. He's not paying for all the stuff that my family has. So I just keep going. I keep moving forward, keep pushing forward.
Yeah, there's no impact there, positive or negative.
No.
Man, that's huge, man. Dude,
there's a huge takeaway, man. There's a lot in here, actually, that I hope you guys are getting. Whoever's tuning into this, there's a lot of nuggets in there.
Well, just the perspective, and one of the things, because we're at an event, and here's what really just stuck, really stuck you out to me. You're like, look, I'm gonna get to everybody in here in the next 15 minutes. Everybody here is gonna know my name, gonna know what I'm doing, gonna know what's going on with me. I was like, I like that guy already. I was like, hold up. I was like, I like this guy already. Because, most people, though, they may talk to a couple of folks and stick to the little groups. He was like, you know what? No. He came ready. And it was just proof in the pudding. So before he even talked about it today, I was like, he just came ready. And that was inspiring to me. Like, it inspired me. It got me to turn maybe my 6 up to an 8. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it was amazing.
Let me just throw this at you real quick. Where am I sitting right now?
Right across. Being interviewed.
I'm being interviewed by
being interviewed by us.
By you guys, right?
Yes, sir.
So, do you think this would have been possible if I would have sat in the corner and just sat there eating rice and chips and drinking water? No. It would have been, hi, how you doing? Good, how are you? And we walk away.
How's the salsa?
Let me tell you something, brother. In life, you have to be a person that's willing to take risk and do it politely, do it correctly. I'm not talking about being disrespectful. I mean, I've been to places where there was a target right there that was just somebody that I wanted to meet, somebody I wanted to connect with, but he was sitting there eating lunch. He was with his daughter, and I just couldn't make the move, bro. I wanted to be respectful of his environment and his time. If I would have caught him out by valet parking, I would have hit him. When I say hit him, meaning made the connection.
Approached, right, yeah.
Now, while he was sitting there with his daughter at the table, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get myself to do it. I evaluated it. I looked at it, and I said, this is not the time, not the place. Maybe it's not meant, like you said, for me to connect with him at this time. Maybe there'll be another time. There hasn't been another time. But I feel good that I made the right decision. So if you're out there and you're a young guy and you're listening, first of all, don't approach somebody and say, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. What you need to say is, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I would love for you to take a look at it and tell me if you think there's any opportunity to be associated with you or someone else, or even give me any direction you can to tell me which direction I should go in. Don't be afraid to approach people. Don't be afraid to talk to people. There are people out there that, they can say one thing about what you're doing and your day will change the next day. Oprah Winfrey's one of those. She can say, you know what? I listened to this podcast. These two guys are amazing. They're doing great things, this, that, and the other. The other thing I do is I channel everything. There's a place for everything to go. There's a market for every direction you go in. Every direction you want to go in. You want to be a police officer. You want to be a director. You want to be there's so many different opportunities. This country of ours, this great country that I love, what we call the United States of America, there are trillions of dollars sitting in a, not a vault, but in a system that's being held there for an emergency that may never come. Mm-hmm. It's just that. The emergency that's there for never come. Look at COVID. Where did all this money come from? Free money. Giving people loans that they don't even have to pay up to $1 million, some $10 million. Where did this money come from? You know where it came from? It came from what's being held, what's being kept on the side for a rainy day. COVID was that rainy day. This leads to another thing I tell young kids. If you make $100, put 25 of it away and save it. That's what happens with a lot of sports figures. They make millions and millions, and they don't think they're going to have a hard day.
And they're bankrupt after 3 years.
And then they're bankrupt after 3 years. They got 20 friends walking with them. They're buying everybody dinner. They're buying everybody bling. I mean, I hate to throw this guy out there. He's a great friend of mine. I really respect him, Mike Tyson, okay? Mike Tyson, back in Brooklyn, New York, got into a car accident with a Rolls Royce and just told the police officer, hey, just take it. $250,000 car, just keep it. He got into an accident, had somebody pick him up and left and signed the thing over to the guy. The cop took it, took the car, got the car fixed, turned around and probably flipped it for $175,000. That's not smart. That's thinking you're going to be rich forever. Mm-hmm. If you don't manage your shit, you'll be, I don't care how much money you're making. It could happen in Bezos. If you don't manage your money, it could be gone as quick as you made it. Because if you're making $1 million and you're spending $2 million, technically you're broke.
Yeah, you're upside down.
Shoot,
yeah.
If you're making $1 million, you're not even making $1 million.
Well, after taxes and stuff.
You lose it.
But you know what? I think. Oh man, my stuff sounds hollow. Maybe it's my ears, but I think there's a difference in mindset too. I mean, I think people are rich, act a certain way versus those that are wealthy. Right? And there's a difference in the mindset of rich and wealthy and how they spend and how they look at money and how they treat it and the disciplines that they have or lack thereof. I feel like rich tend to spend more and buy luxuries and things like that versus wealthy. They actually will invest before they purchase any luxuries.
I think you are right, but it all depends on the personality. I'll give you an example of that. Mayweather's a wealthy guy. Mm-hmm. He makes a lot of money. I'm talking a fight, he'll get $400 million, $100 million. Mm-hmm. He also likes the flash.
Sure.
He likes the bling. Mm-hmm. He likes the nice watches. He likes the, $1 million watches and so forth and so on. But he's also a great investor.
Yeah, he's purchasing those things off of interest earned from that money.
Exactly. He'll get cars, like he's got probably $1 billion in cars just sitting in the garage, 12 12 different Rolls Royces, all colors, and just sitting in the garage that he may drive maybe once in a while. Then he flips it and gets another one.
Mm-hmm.
Or the dealer says, we just want you to have your name attached to this Rolls Royce so we can sell it to other people. So to make a long story short, you are correct in that. But if you said majority, I would say you're 100%. But there are both on both sides. There are some people that, I mean, like the Kennedys, for example, they were millionaires and they ride a bike through Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
He'd ride a 10-speed through Manhattan every day. And he wouldn't be in a flashy car. I saw Steve Martin in a Honda with Primer.
Yep, Bezos did the same thing. He was driving like a 91 Accord, and his company was already valued at about $1 billion.
Yeah.
And they asked him why. He's like, well, it's a perfectly good car. It still runs.
What's the guy's name that has the same house?
Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett. You'll see a letter from Warren Buffett. Let me tell you a funny story on my pursuit to make connections. You know, Warren Buffett doesn't sign autographs. He doesn't do stuff like that. You won't find anything with Warren Buffett. I'm going to give you a book at the end of this thing. You're going to see a letter from Warren Buffett to me, and I'll tell you how I got him to open up to me. I sent $30 to Warren Buffett and said, I know you have everything in the world. I know you're one of the richest men in the world. I know you're a brilliant man. But from one human to another, I know you do a lot of good work. I wanted to pass on a good deed to you. I said, I would like you to take this $30 and buy lunch on me. And he wrote me back, you know, that was really interesting. Thank you so much for that. And also, it looks like we have a lot in common in sports, in boxing, because you'll see a lot of pictures of boxers in there. And that letter's in that package that I'm going to give you from Warren Buffett to me. So the point I'm trying to make is that, you know, it's crazy, man. I mean, as I sit in front of you two brothers here, it's just, you know, look, we're human beings. Could you imagine if we had a world that everybody had a house, maybe some big houses, some small houses, everybody had a green grass yard. Every homeless person had a place to call their home. Every person had therapy that they needed. Every drug addict, heroin addict, alcoholic had some sort of service that could help them. Every country like Israel and Palestine were able to get along and live a life of harmony without hate of a person walking because the color of their skin or the religion that they're affiliated. Could you imagine how beautiful this world could be for everybody on earth? Everybody on earth, because at the end of the day, regardless of where you come from, you're my brother. You're human. That woman is a female. She's my sister. And when people look at homeless people in the street and they say, oh, these homeless people, they should just throw them in a fire pit and burn them up. That's somebody's daughter and somebody's son. That's somebody's daughter and somebody's son. Sometimes those people are the people who fought in the wars and have gone to the wars and taken bullets for us and gotten damage for us to be free in this country.
Yep.
And we're just turning our back on these people. I mean, I don't know, for me personally, what the end game holds for me with God, but I'm going to keep preaching my words of what I've been saying to you guys here in this meeting, that we need to find a place where we can just love and respect each other and just be honorable to each other, just like me and you met, just like I met that other lady, Italian lady, and I met the Jewish guy, and I met Alex. I mean, we got to find a way, bro, to get this thing turned over, because I'll tell you, the new world that's coming out for these kids coming up doesn't look pretty, bro.
Yeah, it's sad and it's scary, especially as a father, man. I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old, and my concern is whether or not they're going to make a positive impact in the world, but how tough can I send them out into the world simultaneously? And when I say tough, I don't mean like, I don't know, callous. Like, I don't want them to be callous. I still want them to have love and understanding and stuff. But I know that they need to be tough, because the world right now is chewing people up and spitting them out. And so when I try to speak greatness into them and kind of reaffirm them as what I want them to be, strong and confident and able, and they know that they have somebody who believes in them, I've had people that are like, hey, don't you think that that's a little bit too much? Like, you shouldn't be telling your sons all of those things, because too much confidence is not a good thing. And I'm like, well, I'm not teaching them to be cocky, right? But I do want them to have some self-worth and some self-esteem in this world today, and also go out and pay it forward. I mean, my son at 6 years old, Luis, and I think you'll appreciate this. We were sitting getting our taxes done, and there's a big glass window kind of like this at the storefront. And he sees a gentleman pushing a shopping cart, lift up the trash can, and start going through the trash. And he had asked me, Daddy, like, what is he doing? I said, man, he's just trying to survive. I think he's looking for some food. And I just bought him a bag of snacks and stuff from the thrifty next door. And he looked at that bag, and he looked at that guy, and then he looked at me. He said, Daddy, can I go out there and give him this? I said, I think he'd appreciate that. You absolutely can. I'll go with you. And he gave it to him, and the guy, he didn't even really say thank you or anything. I think he was kind of shocked by it. And he grabbed it, and he put it in his basket. And my son said, all right, have a great day. And we walked back in. He was 6 years old. But I didn't encourage him to do that. He just did it out of the goodness of his heart. You know?
Let me throw this at you, because that is a beautiful story, what leads into me working in West LA at a building, and there was a homeless person. This is the way it goes. Now watch how the trail goes. There's a homeless guy out there. I walked up. I gave him a $5 bill. It was during the holiday season. A $5 bill. I gave it to him. He said, "Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. God bless you." I went back in the building. A tenant came down and said, "Merry Christmas, Louis." Handed me an envelope with $100 in. That's the story of my life, bro.
You can't. Nothing can come in to a closed fist. You gotta be willing to give something, man.
Yeah.
You gotta be willing to
pour your
give
cup
something,
out, man, in order for it to be refilled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what your son did is gonna teach him one of the most important lessons in my company. I give these guys bonuses every month. I feel good about it, bro.
Sure.
I mean, I feel good when my guy comes in and says, "Hey, Louis, I'm buying a new car. I bought a new BMW. I bought a new Lexus." I feel great, because it's like, that's my efforts, a part of his life, to make him be able to have more.
Yep.
Because that's what it's about. It shouldn't be I, me.
Mm-hmm.
It should be you given to make a bet with your kids, with other people. You know, it's about helping Joseph to go on and help Joseph's family as they develop, and then Joseph's family to help another family, and then another family. And it doesn't matter race, creed, religion, sexual preference. There's enough food for everybody in the world.
Mm-hmm.
When I see these billionaires that are, giving money the right way, not just for tax purposes, because there's a way to do that too.
Sure.
There's a way to give a $5 million because you ain't gonna have to pay taxes because you gave that $5 million, versus a guy that's like doing a lot of great things. Like, there are guys that are doing that out there. Bezos, I think, is one. What's the other guy's name?
Gates. Bill Gates.
Bill Gates does a lot of stuff. So, we just have to, and you don't have to be a billionaire to do that, bro. You could be like, just a guy. This is a true story. I was going to this club in Montebello, and I was, there a couple of times with my wife and other friends, and one of the ways was this African guy came, and I got to know him. I used to give him tips, good tips when we would sit there, a group of 10 people at the restaurant. It's called the La Cañada, La something, the salsa place. And the guy called me before COVID and said, "Hey, I'm having some difficult times, bro, if you could help me." I sent that guy money for a year and a half straight, every single month, and I felt great about it. It was the greatest feeling in the world, bro. Just putting the money in an envelope, sending it to him. He would send me a little email. "Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir. I can't believe you're doing this." And you know what? God bless me. God bless me tenfold. My company grew like crazy. And it's still growing, and God is still giving me blessings. And, there is a God out there. Don't think there isn't.
No, I know there
God
is.
doesn't like ugly. If you're the type of person who likes hurting people, trust me, it's going to come back on you.
Yep.
Tenfold.
Tenfold.
100.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm with you. I believe in service, and being in the service of ultimately it's not what you're giving, but also what you get, right? Like I had a mentor of mine said something so profound, and I heard it years ago, and I've never forgot it. But he said, "Listen," and it kind of goes along the same lines, although it's different. But he said, "You need to learn how to forgive, right? Because forgiveness isn't about the other person." It's about you and what you get. Ultimately, it's for you. But I feel the same applies when you're providing financially or you're being of service to somebody. I gave a guy my whole lunch that my wife had packed for me because he was down and out on his luck and had just had to turn his daughter over to his sister because he was out on the streets and got evicted and stuff. He hadn't eaten in 3 days. And I felt good. Like, I didn't worry about not having food that day, right? Because I had money. I could have went and purchased it. But just giving it to him and being of service, it felt better for me. And the gift that I got in return was gratitude.
That is 100%, brother.
Yeah, and man, I'm with you. I believe in a higher power, and his name happens to be Jesus Christ.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, but
That's a
whatever
fact.
your faith is, I love it. I think we need to spread that message a little bit more and be better examples. I think that's what it ultimately comes out to.
Let me say something to the kids, if you don't mind. One thing
No,
to
not
the
at
kids that is very important also is, respect your parents. We've been there, done that. And it may seem old because when I was a kid, it seemed old. Mom, you just don't know. I've said it. But I'll tell you one thing real quick that you need to know is that I don't know many parents that want bad for their kids. I don't. And when you talk to your children, is that me? I'm sorry.
Busy man.
Oh.
You're good.
When you talk to I apologize for that. When you talk to your kids, as parents, kids, you really need to respect your parents and know that they want the best for you. They want you to pursue the great things in life, and know that no matter what you're dealing with, you can always count on your mother and your father. You may not be able to count on your best friend that you think is your best friend, but your mother and father will always be there for you. And I don't care what my kids do. I just want one thing from them, and that's for them to be happy. I don't care if they work at Ralph's mopping floors. I don't care if they work in a janitorial company. I don't care what they do. It don't matter what they do. It matters that they are happy, and that's all that counts to me. That's all that counts. My son wants to be a designer, go for it. If you find it one day you don't want to be a designer and you want to be a whatever, that's all I want you to do. When I go to my grave, I want to turn to my kids and say, are you happy? And I want them to say yes. And I want them to be able to survive and pay their rent and pay their whatever it is that they live in. But that to me is all I ask for in my journey. I've had a great life. I've had a good run. I've done some things and met some people that I never thought in a million years, and have the greatest friends that I could have. But the most important journey for me at the end of the day is for me to pass the torch to my kids, just to say that they are happy and they can pay their bills, and I'll be happy. That's on me.
That's awesome.
Love it, man. I love it.
I can confidently say from just from our short time together, Louis, that you're a blessing.
Thank you.
You're a blessing to people that you come in contact with, obviously to your family. You've been a blessing to me with our conversation thus far. And I love all the points you made. And there was a lot of successful tips in there for entrepreneurs that were listening. They'll probably have to play it back and catch some of it. Some of it was very direct, and I think you got it. But I would go back and listen to this a couple of times. I'm going to go back, me personally.
Me too.
And
I'd like to hear what I said too.
Yeah, and we were talking about getting rid of divide, but you said, "Hey, I was born in Brooklyn," and so I'm curious, man. Pac or Biggie, and that might create a little bit of divide. But Tupac or Biggie Smalls?
Okay, I'm gonna answer that question. Like I said, I don't fit to belong. They're just two human beings, two brothers that no matter what their journey is, no matter what their journey was ever going to be, it don't matter to me, bro. I'm for both of them, and I'm for the ones that are coming behind them. East Coast, West Coast, North Coast, South Coast, it don't matter. I love to see humanity being able to rise above the gates of heaven, and we are all one. So I don't go Tupac. I don't go neither one of them.
I'm talking about from a music standpoint.
Well, I'm not big, to be honest with you. I'm not that big into hip hop or rap, to be honest with you. I like all kinds of music. I mean, I will listen to some stuff. There's a guy that I started, my sons listen to. I listen to his music, and I like his rhythm. I like his beat. I like his sound. I guess his name is Young Thug.
Oh,
okay. Interesting. You know, I liked it.
I would never.
But to answer the question, listen, we got enough divide in this goddamn world right now, bro. I'm not about to jump into a different music vibe or anything like that. I love goddamn everybody. I like Frank Sinatra.
Okay.
I like Patti LaBelle. I like Phyllis Hyman. My favorite band I'm taking my kids to see is The Whispers. The Stylistics, Delphonics. I'm old school all the way. That's my real thing.
Yeah.
But I like some Barry Manilow. I like some Led Zeppelin. I like it all, bro. I like a little bit of everything.
I do too. I actually grew up on 12-inch records. No, I didn't grow up on that. But
I know him too.
Smokey Robinson, the Commodores, War,
That's my client.
Stylistics,
Smokey Robinson
GQ.
is my client.
Yeah,
GQ, I like GQ
I
too.
grew up on all of that stuff, man, and I still listen to all of that. I still do listen to rap. That was meant to be a little bit fun, but
no, it's fun. But I'm gonna answer it straight. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
I love it and I appreciate it.
So let me ask you guys a question, if I may. So you guys got a beautiful thing going on here. I think it's very positive. I think it's very rewarding. I think it's a smart thing for kids. I think it's great because you're investing in the youth, which God will bless you both. I like the concept. I'm grateful to have been a part of your team for today. What made you individually come into this realm? What made you choose this direction to go in where there's many directions? You could have done a selfish thing and did something selfish, but instead you're making an investment into the youth, which is a great thing. So my question to you both is, what made you guys direct towards wanting to help the youth? And if you're a youth out there and you're listening to this, tell your friends, let's get more people involved with this concept, because this is really a good thing. It's a positive thing, and it's a thing that your friends should be involved in, regardless of them doing good or having a difficulty, whatever the case may be. There's some good knowledge coming through here. So you should tell your friends about this and get the word out about this podcast. So that's my question to you two guys, and I'm going to leave it to you to answer those questions.
All right. So first thing, and it was, we and Thomas have had a lot of conversations. Mm-hmm. We would just talk. I mean, we would literally, sometimes we'd be getting some work done. Then we start having a conversation that lasts for like an hour. Mm-hmm. Then we got people coming around us and they start getting included in the conversation. And we just had great conversations, whether it's just about life or business, and the like, family. And we were like, you know what? We should probably start recording these conversations, because, man, I think not just us have these issues or problems or thoughts, or we think about these things. I think a lot of other folks will probably want to, get these type of things off of our chest. Mm-hmm. And at first, so I'll speak for myself, and Thomas maybe think the same. This is almost like therapy, to be able to get our thoughts out to to be able to get our thoughts and our concerns out to people. And because if I'm thinking this way, I don't think I'm not different than anybody else. I think there's a lot of people thinking this way. Mm-hmm. And we wanted to start getting, wanted to start getting people involved and start really knowing the real deal when it comes to getting involved with a business. Mm-hmm. Because we have our own business, we have our own practices. So we want people to know what the real deal was, man. It's not all flowers and rainbows, and this is real stuff. Mm-hmm. We're dealing with people every day, and we want people to know, what it's like to be in the trenches. And we talk to business owners that, maybe just, haven't sailed off into the sunset, that are still working, that are still getting it in, that remember their losses, that remember their learns, that remember their wins, because it's fresh.
Right.
So we're talking to business owners that are still in the trenches every single day. And we thought, man, it'd be great to have people listen to folks that are still in the trenches, that are still working, they're still getting after. Even if they have a certain level of success, but they still have a pulse on what's going on in this world.
Right.
So that was the premise of it. And the no pressure, no diamonds. I mean, shoot, man, person can either bust pipes or it can make diamonds, and the right people come out the other side. So. Man, Thomas, you had anything to add?
So you said, hold on one second. You said bust pipes. What does that mean?
So pressure can either bust pipes.
Oh, got it.
Right?
Got it. Yes.
Or
That's a good one.
diamonds,
I like that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, good.
Yeah, no, for me, it was to kind of piggyback off of what you said. I agree. For me, it's therapeutic. So if there was a selfish aspect to it, Louis, for me, it's that I enjoy conversation, and my thoughts tend to flow a little bit better. So selfishly, that's what I get from having good conversations with people like you and stuff like that. As far as the impact, Alice kind of alluded to that with, our goal is maybe creating some relatability. I personally believe that entrepreneurship and that ownership and the journey is one that everybody should take, because what you can potentially get on the other side. So as a father and a husband, for me, it's always been important to be able to be present and not have to ask for permission to spend time with my family and things like that. And so that's the reason why I want to help people on that journey. As far as the kids, I kind of talked about this earlier. I really just want to be a good example. And I think that we need more good examples of people going out there and figuring this thing out called life, whatever the journey is that they're on. I think there's a lot of great information out there, and I want younger generations to have access to what a good thought process should be, and how to get there, and how to be an example, and how to treat your wife, and how to treat other people, and how to be of service. Like, that's one of my main things, is I want to get to a point where I can just be of service constantly. My wife and I, we sponsor a little girl out in Uganda right now. We had a family discussion about it. My kid's 10 now. He was 8 when we did that, and my youngest one was 4, right? But I included them with that, because I didn't want them, not that they're giving me a pat on the back, right? But I wanted them to understand that, like, hey, our focus, it goes beyond what is happening here, right? Like, this is our core is obviously important to us, but I want to ensure that they understand we want to have a global impact,
Ripple,
positively, and that they play a role in our decision-making process and things like that. So as far as impacting the youth, I think, and I'm far from a perfect example, but I think if we can get more good quality people and thought processes, and maybe provoke some ideas and spark some, some I don't know, ideas and things like that in the younger youth, I think that's a move in the right direction. So that's my goal again, is ultimately, hopefully, we leave the world a little bit better than we found it. And I'll do that through my children.
That is beautiful. And that's a high mark on the characters of the both of you guys making that investment. I think that's great. I think it's beautiful. And I thank you both for inviting me here today. It was an honor. I mean, a very professional environment and everything. And I think you guys do a good job. If I could ever be of help in the future, feel free to invite me. I'd love to come back again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we definitely will. And it'll probably be requested to hear some more.
I'll be at the door waiting too. You may see that big car out there parked for another couple of weeks now.
Man, that thing is cool, dude.
Well, let's go take a look.
Let's
check it out, man. So,
awesome.
So man, without further ado, man. Where can everybody find you at?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I own a company called Kadima Security Services. We are located in Encino, California. And basically, I'm going to give you my telephone number and address. My address is 6345 Balboa Boulevard, Suite 210, Encino, California. My office number is 213-688-3019. Again, my name is Louis Perry. My email is lperry, Perry, at Kadima, Kadima Security, SECURITY.com. We are located on the corner of Balboa and Victory Boulevard. And I'd love to help out in any way. I'm on my way to the Boys and Girls Club in, I guess, Canoga Park or Woodland Hills, whichever area it is. But it's a great opportunity, and I thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And also, speaking to my son Adam and my other son Justin, my daughter Mirage, my wonderful wife Paulina, my dog Coco, and my other dog Maximus. I gotta get everybody in. If I don't, they're gonna get pissed off at me when I get home. All right, love you guys. Have a good day.
Yes,
God bless
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, man. Shoot. Well, remember to like, comment, share this to anybody that you see fit. Comment if you like it. Comment if you don't, man. Let us know we can change it, do better on it, improve.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it, man. But guess what? Without no further ado, no pressure.
No diamonds.
Let's get it.